Hey guys, so I feel like I didn't get to do enough problems like this with everything worked out. So I know I just sent you this problem completely worked out, but I thought I would also teach it in case you're struggling with it. And I'm just going to go down the parts. We know that the amplitude is the number right there in front of sine. So the amplitude is 3. The vertical shift is the number on the end out here, so that vertical shift is up 1. The period is 2 pi over b. So you've got to actually calculate the period. I'm going to go right down here where I have a little bit of room, so that would be 2 pi over, and b is the number, the coefficient of x over 3, so that is 1/3. And so that ends up being a period. When you do 2 pi divided by 1/3, you get 6 pi. All right, so now your points go from 0 to 6 pi. Now I'm going to have to shift them, but at least that gives me my initial points, and that means this one halfway in between the 0 and 6 pi is 3 pi, and halfway here would be 3 pi over 2, or 1.5. And halfway between 6 and 3 is 4.5, or 9 pi over 2. Okay, so that let me get, when I changed the period, that changed the x values. And really, I should have already changed, when I changed the amplitude and the vertical shift, I should have changed my y values. We're dealing with sine, and so we know usually sine is 0, 1, 0, -1, 0. So when I do 0 times 3 plus 1, that makes this y value 1. 1 times 3 is 3, plus 1 is 4. 0 times 3, the zeros are going to stay. They're going to all stay at that 1. And then -1 times 3 is -3. -3 plus 1 is -2. That's my y values. They're not going to change anymore. I still have got to look at these x values and change them a little bit more because I have to do this horizontal phase shift, and we know that that is your c over b. So let's talk about that. My c is 1/4. My b is 1/3. And when you do 1/4 over 1/3, that is 3/4. Okay, and it's actually 1/4 pi over the 1/3, so that's 3/4 pi. All right, that's going to be my horizontal shift. Because it's plus in between there, it's going to be that amount to the left. So then I've still got to go right back up here to these x values and shift every one of those by 3/4. And I'm just going to subtract 3/4 from this point, this point, this point, this point, and this point. Okay, so when I do that XY chart, my new x there is 0 minus 3/4, which is -3/4. And I wrote this out on the paper. You know, this one here is going to be 3/2 minus 3/4. And seriously, guys, I just plug that in my calculator. And when you do 3/2 minus 3/4, you get 3/4. And these all have a pi because you're graphing them on with the radians. And then when I do 3 pi minus 3/4, and I just subtract that off, that gives me 9/4 pi. And then I'm going to do 9/2 minus 3/4, and that gives me 15/4. And I know these numbers are weird, but just do the math on it. It's just literally just plug them in your calculator. Every one of them you're doing 0 minus 3/4, 3 over 2 minus 3/4, 3 minus 3/4. Every one of them, because we're shifting left. 3/4, you're just subtracting 3/4 from all of these x coordinates. 6 pi minus 3/4 is 21 pi over 4. Now, a quick way that I go back and check and make sure that I've done them right, I make sure that the distance between all of these are the same. And basically, I can look at my numerators. From -3 to +3 is 6. From 3 to 9 is 6. From 9 to 15 is 6. 15 to 21 is 6. So that's the way I can check. Now, we've already got the y values, and we said that we were finished with those. That's 1, 4, 1, -2, 1. And so when I go to put it on my graph, I have -3/4 pi here. And that's at 1. Okay. And then I have 3/4 pi. So that's got to jump across the x-axis or across the y-axis there. So there's nothing at 0. 3/4 pi is up at 4. 2, 3, 4. Then I go to 9 pi over 4. And that's at 1. So you can see my sine curve. And then I've got 15 pi over 4. I might run out of room here. It's a 15. And that goes down to -2. It's down here. And then 21 pi over 4. And that goes to +1. And that's my sine curve. I don't know how I'm going to do an online test over this, how I'm going to put this on Canvas. I'll figure it out, and I'll let you know. We're in this together. Oh, one more thing. I didn't give the midline here. Remember, the midline is just always your D value. It's your y equals D. So my midline is 1. In this case, you can see that that's where everything turned up in the middle. And another good thing, you can kind of go back and check your distance from your midline to your maximum would be your amp. From 1 up to 4 is 3, and that checks out that that's my amp. So anyway, just kind of, hopefully that helps.